because the time is near.
Do you record these?
Yes, I do.
If you would send me the link.
Okay, I will. No, hold on.
Looks like we're live.
Are we? I don't see it.
Y'all might end it saying it's streaming live.
Okay. And I don't see us anywhere. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, hello.
Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Awesome. Just want to just share this amazing, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. We are in for a ride. I love to celebrate this awesome woman. Thank you for coming, Dorothy. How are you today?
I am great, and I've been looking forward to teaming up and chatting with my friend all day long. You are beautiful. You're positively glowing.
Thank you, thank you. So are you. You're radiant as well. You bring such light into a place and you illuminate a place. And we're going to talk about that in a few moments. So let me tell you a little bit, a snippet about this amazing woman, this amazing coach, speaker, and author who empowers women to step off their place of comfort. You hear me? You got to get out your comfort zone. When you're around her, she's contagious. She allows you and empowers you to get out your comfort zone into real versions of ourselves, women and people. I think she does it across the board. A Southern girl. She publishes magazines, hosts productions and podcasts. She co-directs the Success Women's Conference, a top 10 conference for professional women in the United States. Achievements she's most proud of include serving as president of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber of Commerce, being named SBA Women Business Champion of the Year for the state of Mississippi, receiving the Pat Spirit of the Coast Trophy, One Coast Leader Award, the Tandler Lifetime Achievement Award, the MHA Humanitarian of the Year Award, and being named one of the 25 top African Americans in the state of Mississippi. So she's triumphing in the entire state. And you know, when you take regional possession and state possession, you begin to impact the whole United States. Her books include Little Book of Weapons, How to Defeat Your Giants, and Unboxed, 25 Women Break Free and Soar. That's just a snippet. I've known this wonderful lady for some years. She has imparted a lot in me. She's my mentor. She's given me books to read. So when you meet with her, she's about influencing your life to make you, again, step out of your comfort zone and into the best version of yourself. Welcome, welcome, Dorothy Wilson.
Well, I'm looking behind me. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who that woman is.
It is definitely.
Thank you so much. It's indeed an honor to have an opportunity to appear on your broadcast. I'm so very proud of you that you have stepped out into this, and you're doing exactly what I try to do. I try to inspire and empower other people, and you're doing that with this broadcast. Each week people are watching this broadcast and they're like, I want to do something like this, or I should do something like this. So I just want to say personally, thank you for stepping out to do this.
Thank you so much. As my mentor, you know that this was a very, very nervous space for me to step out. And I really didn't think I was quote unquote equipped, but as you walk with God, He begins to reveal greater things for you. And I'm not saying I have arrived yet. However, I don't mind stepping into what God has for me. And with that, I'm going to segue.
Katrina, I need to say this. You have been doing exactly what you're doing on this show for years. You just were doing it one person at a time. As you slayed our faces and made us beautiful, I will never forget the morning that you showed up like at 4:30 in the morning at my hotel to get my face ready for the Success Women's Conference. And I was exhausted. It was the first day of the conference. There were so many things to think about. There were so many speakers to make sure their accommodations were what they needed to be. And you, in a very soft-spoken way with much wisdom, you just spoke words of encouragement over me. And I don't know if you remember this, but when you were packing up and you were getting ready to leave that day, I said, thank you. You have blessed me. And I said, now I can go forward without the stress, without thinking the way I was thinking when you came in here. And you transformed me in that 35, 40 minutes that you took to apply makeup. And so you don't think it's strange that you're doing this in a broader arena. You have been doing this for years.
Received. And as we were just talking about stepping into what God has for us, when I look at our relationship, and even before I even met you, your rich resume, it is immensely rich. Can you give us a synopsis about your eventful life? Because I met you actually, I put in a resume to do makeup for Beach Boulevard.
Magazine, yes.
Yes. And you and CC Shabazz and I never forget Drew Tarter, all of you guys welcomed me.
What a great team.
It was an awesome ride. And so I am so passionate about you and our relationship and the people that I built relationships at that time. So I know you, I know your heart. I know that you seek to empower people. So you have a rich history, a rich resume. Can you tell us a synopsis about this Southern girl who has all these accolades, who has taken the region and taken the
the first thing I will say is it's not about the awards. Those are just names on paper and certificates and trophies. That's not what is really important. What really is important is each person becoming unboxed. And that's why I titled the book that way, that released last year in May. Each person becoming unboxed to truly be the person that they were created to be. And so if you ask me to give you a synopsis, I have to kind of go back and pick up the story from where my passion comes from, where I draw from. And so, as a young girl, I watched my mom be in an abusive relationship, just a very difficult life, struggling and not having an opportunity to realize her fullest potential, being held back. And as I grew into my teen years, I didn't have a whole lot of respect for my mother. And I remember when I first went off to college, I really saw her as like the weakest person that I knew, because I felt like she should have escaped. She should have gotten out of that situation. She was a wonderful person, wonderful. I mean, just a beautiful heart, beautiful spirit, but I couldn't see it. I could only focus on the negativity. And then when I started college, that's when everything changed for me, because I really began to understand the sacrifices that my mother had made for me to attend college, to ensure that I had what I needed, and just countless times taking her last $20 to give to me so that I could, have some of what I needed when I was attending college. And so literally I went from seeing her as the weakest person that I knew to the person that I admired most. She became my hero. And because the reason she became my hero is, despite all of the obstacles she had, all of the things that held her back, and guess what? All of the reasons she had not to succeed, to be successful, she overcame every last one of them. And I learned so much from that. It's not about the obstacles that are in front of you. It is about your vision. It is about what you're willing to do, the commitment, the dedication you're willing to make to move forward. And my mother, she finally did leave that relationship with my father and struck out on her own, never learned how to drive a car, but she started working at a steakhouse, worked her way up to manager of that steakhouse with an 8th grade education.
Awesome.
And even beyond that, in the neighborhood that I grew up in as a teenager, she became a mother in that neighborhood. And she mentored and she empowered young guys, young women, older women, middle-aged women. They would come sit on the porch. Her nickname was Essie. They would call her Miss Essie this, Miss Essie that, or Mama Essie is what they would call her. And she literally mentored the whole neighborhood very quietly. She never, sought attention, never went out and stuck her face or feet into anybody else's business. They came to her. And the reason they came to her was the character and the integrity. Yeah. It was the type of woman that she was, and it attracted them. It was like a beautiful fragrance that she carried, but she was a hard worker. And even though we lived in the housing project, she kept her house neat. It was one of the neatest houses in that housing project. And I learned so many things from her about working hard, being determined, making the absolute best of every situation that you're placed in. And instead of looking at what's wrong and what I don't have, she made the best of what she had. And so all of that has propelled me forward to become, I think that was like the schoolroom for me. It was a big setup.
Yes.
To cause me, it just like it lit me on fire to want to reach out and help other women in particular, to be able to fight beyond strife, whether it be health issues that they're facing, career issues, whatever it might be, to help them to be able to see beyond that, to fight beyond that, to work beyond that, but above all else, to walk in a way that would be pleasing to God in our attitude and in our character. Around the office where I work, everybody knows, don't come in negative, because I am coming in and I'm stopping everything and we're having a sit down and we're talking. Yes. And my sons, I have 2 sons and they're grown now and they laugh about this. It's like, they start complaining about something and they're like, oh, stop, Mom. I don't need the lecture. I don't need you to sit down and give me any coaching or counseling today. It's fine. I just wanted to gripe for a minute. Yes. And so in all of that I have done, I wanted to achieve beyond what my mother was able to. I wanted to make sure that I realized my fullest potential. And so I was the first of 6 children in my family to attend college, and I was the youngest. So, you know, I started college, and then some of them actually went back and went to college after that. And I was determined to go to the best school that I could for journalism communication. And so I will never forget my mom and my sister telling me, you're going to go to that big school, and, you know, that's a white university, and you don't know anybody over there. And I was, you know, scared, but I did it scared, because I wanted to operate. I wanted to be effectuated at the highest level that I could. And so University of Georgia afforded me a wonderful opportunity. And I got into newspapers, worked in newspapers in Georgia, in South Carolina. And I came to South Mississippi in 1997. And I ran the Sun Herald newsroom for several years, and then moved over running the special projects department and the ad design department, the ad layout department, some other departments at the newspaper. And it was a really good move for me, because that was my first introduction to magazines. And working with the publisher Ricky Matthews and CC Shabazz, many of you know her, Drew Tarter. We created a wonderful magazine. It was named Best in State 4 years in a row. It's one of my proudest moments to have created that. And then as the newspaper industry began to down cycle, and layoffs, rounds and rounds of layoffs came, and I was laid off in one of those rounds. And I had many opportunities to go back into a corporate career type position. But again, I wanted to be completely unboxed. I wanted to be able to be the best version of myself that I could be. And so I held out, and I started praying, and I wasn't sure. I was scared, wasn't sure exactly what it was going to look like. And 3 people came to me and said, Gulf Coast Woman magazine is for sale. And one day I had been looking for information, a contact. So there was no website for the owner of Gulf Coast Woman, and I couldn't find it. And one day I was driving north on US 49, right in front of the Walmart there. And I heard God audibly say to me, pursue Gulf Coast Woman. And I wanted to just like jump out of my car in the middle of traffic and scream at the sky and say, what do you think I have been doing for 3 weeks looking for it? And the next day I walked into the Night Nonprofit Center on Seaway, and right there in the lobby on the desk was a fresh stack of Gulf Coast Women magazines. And I just stood there with tears running down my face, because it was like a confirmation to me that I was walking in the right direction. And so the rest is kind of history. And then from there, I also began a marketing business and began a consulting business, working with small businesses, medium businesses, and nonprofits, helping them to grow, to think strategically, helping them to create written plans, that type of thing. And also, you know, coaching them to how to grow their business, how to grow themselves personally. And then in 2015, Karen Cherry actually was one of my marketing customers, and we met every Friday to work on her business. And during those meetings, we oftentimes would go off and start talking about many other topics. And we kept saying, we need a women's conference, you know, something like Go Red on steroids, you know, and we would talk about it. And in the spring, like early part of 2015, we were like, we need to quit talking about this, and we need to do something. Why don't we do it?
We be the answer.
Yes, we do it. Why don't we do it? Let's quit waiting on somebody else to do something that we think is much needed. And so we fly, Kern had worked with a number of events, even had her own RIPE conference at that time. So she had some conference experience. What I had a lot of experience with was project management, framing, and branding. And so it was like, how you put those two things together, and we created a conference and broke even the first year, and we were as happy as we could be that everything got paid.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Amazing.
that's kind of that brings you up to today.
Yes, awesome, awesome. And I loved every segment that you shared. Your childhood, going off to college, being met with something that was uncomfortable even then. When your mom and your sister said that college, and you were like, yes, that college, because I want to be effective. And you brought up overcoming obstacles. There are so many obstacles going on right now. We have social and racial injustices going on now. We have the pandemic. So we are living in a tumultuous time if we allow it to keep seeping into our head and to keep, but we're living, I always say this, in chaos, there is opportunity.
Well, I say it this way: obstacles equals opportunities.
That's right.
An obstacle is an opportunity. You just have to you have to turn it around and look at it on the other side. And I was just talking to a nonprofit director last night, and she was saying she was concerned that this year they were not going to be able to hold their event. And they were trying to decide, what they could do. And she was talking about where they're going to try to do at least some fundraising, even though they were not going to be able to execute their event, their main event, at the level that they had in past years. And I just kind of like lit up right there in front of her. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is an opportunity actually to pivot. And let's start talking about what this could look like in a different way, and how you can accomplish the same mission in a virtual environment. And so eventually she, pulled out her phone and she started taking notes, and she said, "Can you come to our meeting Friday night?" And I said, "I'll just be honest with you, I'm not going to be there." Not at the end of the work week. And I said, "But I am happy to have a follow-up conversation with you." And so we're in a time that is very, very, very difficult on so many levels. Not the uncertainty of everything that's happening with COVID. It seems every 3 days there's a new announcement. The numbers are up, the numbers are down, these number of people are dying, and we can't find masks, and you can't find toilet paper, and all of these different things. And then on top of that, what's happening with racial injustice all around the country. I mean, all of these new cases that are coming up, it's
worldwide. It's worldwide.
Yeah,
it's a pandemic as well.
Yes. So inside there's so much noise, and people are in so much pain in so many ways. Some people have relatives who are sick. They have parents who are nursing home, and grandparents who they can't go see. They have people who are sick, having a baby or whatever in a hospital, and they can't, go there to be with them. There's so many people who are hurting on so many levels, and it's real easy to really just kind of sink down and sit down. Visually, I can visualize this. It's just kind of like sitting down on the side of a tree and just kind of letting everything roll over you. And that's one choice that you can make. But I encourage people to look again and walk around to the other side of the tree and ask themselves, what could I do right now that maybe I was afraid to do before? What can I do right now that perhaps I was focused on so many other things that I couldn't stop and reflect? But now with me working from home, possibly I have more time to think. What can I start that I've been thinking about starting for 2 years now? What can I start? Why don't I start? What can I learn? What can I learn that I've been telling myself, hey, I want to take a online course, or I want to learn how to design my own graphics. I just see, as hard as these times are right now with COVID, this is a time of opportunity. And I think that with the situation with racial injustice, no matter what color your skin is or what side you're on, this is your opportunity to listen, to learn, but also to share. And everybody has a responsibility in that. It is so wonderful to hear little stories every day, it seems, where people of color are sharing about things that happened to them that they never shared with somebody else in their office, never shared with their neighbor. And their neighbor is like something that was not real to me before, or it was so far removed that I didn't really understand the pain of it.
Right.
That person now is saying, this is really real, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This is not, I can no longer discount when I see something happening on the news. I can no longer discount that, well, they must have said something, or they must have done something, or they must have caused this to happen. The police was just trying to do their job. I think that so many people now are in a place where they have been shaken awake.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are finding their voice. They didn't have that voice. They didn't know how to articulate. They only shared struggles and trials with other people who could understand it because they were experiencing the same thing. And now we're all talking. We're all talking. I'm so excited about groups like the Legacy Business League that is powering up, and all of the different things that group is going to be offering to help us move forward. I think it's great to hold protests, to do rallies. Yes, attention needs to be brought to the subject, but now we have to figure out, how do we move forward from here?
Strategy.
Yes, how do we move forward, and what is the role of each one of us?
Yes.
I heard somebody say this, and I thought it was just a really good analogy. They said something about, for some people are rabbits, okay, in this race, and some people are stallions, they're horses.
Mm-hmm.
And and if you're a rabbit, don't try to aspire to be a horse. Just be a great rabbit.
Yes.
And do what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, awesome wisdom. That's an opportunity to ask you this. I had a conversation with someone and they were saying, well, it's time to move on. It's time to get over some of this. And I understand that perspective to an extent, because, we want to move towards strategy and healing. However, I use this analogy. If I'm in a bad relationship, or if you went out and got hurt in a vehicle, car wreck, I can't come to you and rush to you and say, heal, get over it. It's going to take, first I got to deal with the trauma that it may have caused to my neck, or my head injury, or my shoulders. I got to deal with that. I got to get that worked on. I got to, I may have to go through therapy. I may have to take some medication. I may have to do some things to get to the place of healing. And so I think you do an amazing job with being compassionate, just as you shared some of the stories about neighbors coming together. That's a part of the healing process. That's a part of alleviating the trauma.
Yeah. But also, when you find yourself in a situation where it's like, I really don't understand all of this. This is crazy. There's so many viewpoints, and I've never seen this or experienced this. And but I know that I saw the George Floyd video, and that was real. But how wide and how deep this is, I don't really understand that. Can't we just go ahead and move on, and get this out of the psyche? But and that's a coping mechanism when you think about it. You know, for many people, the way they cope with pain, or they cope with things that they don't understand,
it is delve into work.
It is. Let's just move on and go on to something else. Let's redirect. But I think that in this situation, that the wound is gaping. It is wide open and it's bleeding. Okay, and this is not going to, even just getting stitches in the wound, it's going to take a lot of effort, and it's going to take time to even stitch the wound up before it can even begin to heal.
That's exactly.
And even after the wound itself heals and the stitches are removed, the scar is still there. Right. And the other thing is that if you've ever had a deep wound, and it heals and you have the scar, when it rains,
scar tissue,
it hurts again. It hurts again. And so I don't know that this is going to go away in our lifetime. Right. I think we'll be dealing with it at different levels for a very long time.
I agree.
But hopefully, again, obstacles equal opportunities. And hopefully this will become an opportunity for everyone to get closer to the same page, so that we can begin to walk forward together toward change.
Awesome.
And I said this, I posted this on Facebook Saturday. It's not about, which side you're on. It's about how do we get on the same side. Yeah. That's what the real deal is. How do we get on the same side?
Yes. So what do you feel would be an adequate address the crippling economy that we're having? Some people are laid off and furloughed, and I know that is an opportunity as well, prevalent among our people today. What kind of nuggets can you give them to triumph? You're such an empowering person. You're always looking for ways to build women and build men. That's why I don't ever limit you to women. I see you go across the board with children, with women, with men, with young people. So how can you share?
Well, I think that I have some experience with this. When I was laid off back in 2012, that was a jarring experience for me. And this is what I would say is when opportunity has been removed from you, one door closes, then a window opens. And so it's time to look for the window. And the window is, you may not be someone who can become a business owner. You don't feel confident enough, or you don't have a good idea, but everyone can find someone to partner with. Okay. And say, hey, my skills are this, this, and this. Don't ask me to keep the books. Don't ask me to develop the strategy. But if you want somebody to do A, B, and C, I can do that well all day long. Go find you a partner and team up. And guess what? Sweat equity doesn't cost you anything but hard work. Sweat equity, okay? And the next part of this is that if you can put together a good enough business plan, and if you can get the right people on board in a partnership or a group, then, and if you can sell that idea well, other people will invest in it. Your partners will invest in it. And so a lot of times people get so hung up on, if I'm going to start a business, if I'm going to buy a business even, I have to have a lot of money, so I can't look in that direction. That is not true. That is not true. You just have to decide up here and in here, that you want it bad enough, and you're willing to put forth whatever the effort is that it's going to take, and you're going to knock on doors until somebody opens it. That's what that is all about. The other part of this is you may have been in, say you were in an administrative role in a trucking company. Well, it's an opportunity to reset, to rethink, and to ask yourself, now that I don't have a job, if I could do anything, what would that really look like?
Mhm.
What would that be? And it may be that you want to go and you want to get a degree in a healthcare field because the healthcare field is growing. And you're like, but I don't have the money for college. Okay, well, you can get some student aid now, whereas, you know, three months ago, you might not have been eligible for that student aid. Okay.
Mhm.
And so what? If you have to go waitress and work as a server
Yeah.
at night and make it off tips, you can make good money waitressing. So what if you have to do that if it moves you down the road toward your dreams?
That's right.
Sometimes I think that particularly people who have been in a professional, more of a corporate type job, it's like
Mhm.
you get hung up on job titles
Mhm.
and it's time to get unboxed.
That's
You
right.
are not what your job title is. You're not what your position is. Sometimes you have to take a step back in order to go forward. And that's part of being courageous and stepping past fear as well.
Yes.
It's okay sometimes to step back in order to go forward.
So you already shared with us how your mom impacted you and that
Yeah.
she became your absolute role model, uh, where you saw her as weak. Now you see her as the woman of strength, and she left so many nuggets that you're yet
Yeah.
operating in today. Are there any other inspirational role models in your life?
Well, actually, it's the women in my family. My grandmother, same. My grandmother, my oldest sister, she's 14 years older than me. And so I call her sis mom. So on Mother's Day, she gets the card saying, I love you, sis/mom. And so these three women, because of their character, their relationship with God, and how they treated people, they have set they have drawn a beautiful roadmap for me and others in my family to follow. How they give and how they nurture. You know, my mom passed last year, and my grandmother passed when I was in college. And so, but my sister, we are very close. I just, I so admire her and all of the obstacles that she has had to overcome. You know, she was older than me, and all of my older siblings, they ran away by the time they were like 11, 12. You know, they had to get out of the situation. They ran away. And so she ran away, I think when she was around 13, 14 years old. And my grandmother, she lived with my grandmother. And so my sister has had to really carry a lot of the weight of the family on herself, because as my brothers would run away, for instance, they would go to her house. And so she would just graft them into the family. And when my mother first left, me and two of my siblings stayed with my sister, maybe like for two years. And so my sister took on a lot of weight. And so what the inspiration comes from looking past your personal situation and being willing to sacrifice for the well-being of others. One of the things my mother always would say is, you never know what a person's going through. She would say that. And so I think that's part of why I have such a heart for teenagers and for young children, babies. Oh, I love them and they love me, because I want to see them be well. And I will make all kinds of special effort to make them feel special, to make them feel, needed, and to make them feel whole. And so my grandmother, all of the grandchildren at some point would land at her house. And I remember she had this big bed. It was like a queen bed in her house. There was one bed in her house. She had like a 2.5 room house. And I remember like 6 of us sleeping in that bed. And then she also would take in stray cats. So we'd wake up, we'd have cats all over us. But the thing that I noted was she never told any of her grandchildren, you can't come because I have these 3 over here now. She never said that. She made room. She made room. My mother, living in the housing project, all the drug dealers and the street women, they come sit on the porch with Miss Essie to get wisdom. You know, the drug dealers would get out of prison, And there they, they're riding by in the hoopty. They, hit the door. So telling the driver to stop, and they'd hop out and they'd run over to the porch and they would hug her.
Wow.
And it was because she invested in them. And
Yeah.
so these women, they have such a, they created such a legacy of endurance and overcoming and keeping a smile on your face and seeing what was good about life. Despite how difficult it was, they saw the good. The cup was always half full for them. And then also part of their enduring legacy was their relationship with God. And one of my most vivid memories was my grandmother, like this time of the year when we were out of school, and I would go stay with her in the summertime, and she had a garden on beside her house. And in the evening, this time of the day, she would go and she would get her greens and okra and whatever she was gonna, prepare the next day. And I'd follow her down the rows. And I remember I could just hear her just ever so softly, sound like she was singing or talking. I didn't know what she was doing. It was for her. It wasn't meant for me. And later on, I realized she was praying and she was talking to God. That was her communion time with him. That was her fellowship time with him. And it was in the cool of the day after she finished all of her chores that required a lot of focus. And so those three women set such a great example. And there are grooves in my soul from the example that they have set.
So as I hear you, my heart is just fluttering with joy, because as you talked about how the drug dealers are in the street women and just anybody in the neighborhood, they felt loved and invested in. And now I kind of get with the background story, how much you care about community, because basically they were community leaders. They were community leaders.
Yes, they were.
Because they walked in integrity, they gave love. And then you mentioned the key nugget, Christ, God.
Yes.
They were empowered to do that. They were anointed to do that. And that's where I want to segue into you. You carry that all, that overflowing in love. Our show is named Overflowing in Love, the all. You carry that where it drips on people, where they're drawn to you to come for coaching and mentoring. So I see that in you.
It is an overflow of the heart. It's an overflow. And it's a continuous, it's a well. And in order to pour that way, you cannot pour out for others what you don't have in you. You have to have a fountain, you have to have a well, you have to have a place. And you and I were talking before you went live, and that's the whole thing right there. That's the whole nut of all of it. It is my relationship with God and how he loves me and how I love him. And as a result, no matter what's going on and no matter how difficult things are, I have joy. I have joy. And I have joy because of my relationship with him, not because of the circumstances around me. Those things change.
Yes.
But he doesn't change, and his love for me doesn't change. And what you have to understand is that if you grew up in a crazy home like the one that I grew up in, I really don't ever remember anybody saying to me, I love you. Now, I know somehow I knew I was loved, but nobody said it. And so when I really fully began to understand who Jesus was, who Christ was, one of the first revelations I got was in Psalm, where it talks about us being the apple of his eye. And I remember reading that scripture and just becoming undone, because I had never felt like that before. And so having a deep understanding that I am the apple of his eye and that he loves me unconditionally, no matter how crazy I grew up, no matter the stigmatism that was attached to my dad and all of the ugliness and the darkness from that. no matter all of the difficulty of growing up in the housing project, no matter the difficulty of going to a major predominantly white university and trying to find my way, no matter all of the difficulty of getting in a career field where there weren't a whole lot of people who looked like me in the places that I worked, and particularly moving into management positions, and oftentimes being like the first this or the first that. You know, I was the first African American to run the newsroom at the Sun Herald, and so moving into those roles, there were many mountains that had to be climbed. There were many barriers that had to be walked around, because remember this, you don't always have to kick the barrier down. Sometimes you can just walk around it. Okay. Awesome. And so the thing that has sustained me, the thing that has propelled me forward, is my knowledge of who he is and who he is in me, who he is in me. And that fills me up every day, and it gives me plenty to pour out to others. Oftentimes people burn out and they get frustrated and they feel used and overused. But the reason they feel that is that because they have gotten the pouring out of sync. They're not balancing and allowing themselves to be refreshed and refilled from the source, the real source.
That's right.
And they're trying to pour from themselves, and they don't have anything else to pour, and they become resentful and they become tired. I don't have time to get tired. I have things that my Father wants me to do. Have to be about that.
You just brought up an excellent point, and the light bulb went out. I'm sorry, not out. It just, when you said you have things to do and you're busy. I know sometimes I get this question, and I know you probably get the question all the time, but it really is the anointing. What drives you, that God-given thing where we look at you, you're a conference leader, you win all these awards, you do podcasts, you speak, you coach, you mentor, and back to the rabbit and the stallion. If you're a rabbit, do what rabbits do. If you're a stallion, do what stallions do. But sometimes people say, well, how is the stallion doing that? Because they're purposed to do that.
Yes, so, but also you really have to understand what your purpose is. Sometimes people, they want to be things and they want to do things because they see someone else doing it. I empower women. I do that by publishing a women's magazine. I empower women, and I do that by being the co-founder of the Success Women's Conference. I empower women, and I do that by coaching them in business. I empower women, and I do that by mentoring women, okay? Now, there are other things on the outside edges of that, but the core of what I do every day is that. And so that's not work. That's passion.
Yes.
That's not work. You don't get tired doing the thing that loves you, because guess what? Every time you pour out the best of who you are filled back up.
You're replenished. Yeah.
You are filled back up. And so if you can find that magic of what it is you were purposed to do, then you can flow in that, and you can accomplish so much more than you thought you could have or you would have. But on a more practical level, because I know that sometimes people are like, well, you know what, I'm not there yet. Tell me something that I can use today. I have a system called batching. And what batching looks like is it is putting like things together and blocking off segments of time to get those things done. So for instance, on days when I'm editing for the magazine, I set aside a half day, and it's like, don't ask me to do anything else. Don't knock on my door. Don't call me. I'm not answering my phone. Okay. I'm not getting on my text message or my social media. This is editing day. And I'm going to really focus on getting that done. There are other days when Mondays. Mondays are my day to interact with team members. And so I start off with a 9 o'clock team meeting, and those meetings go all the way through the day until like a 4 o'clock meeting with the sales team. I have a strategy meeting. I meet with the production team. That's batching. So instead of spreading all of those meetings through the week where I'm stopping and starting throughout each day, okay, I have them here on Monday, and I'm going to knock out as many of those as I can. Okay. And then on Friday, oftentimes everybody, people are in a mindset of finishing up their week. They're not trying to add any more to their schedule. Well, that's my favorite day because everybody leaves me alone. And anything that I have to, if I have to write column or write, something to submit somewhere, that is the day that I'm going to write it on. It's going to be on a Friday. If I have to deal with numbers, then I'm going to do that on a Friday because my mindset is I'm going to focus in a more detailed way. Yes. Friday, that's my planning day. Okay. And I'm taking notes and I'm journaling. Okay. And so that bookends my week. Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they're going to look a little different every week. And there are certain things that I have to do. Like Wednesday is my reassess the week day. And it's I started out over here on Monday with these 12 things on my list. Okay, I am about to do a reset, and I'm about to jettison some things. I'm about to delegate some things, or I'm going to communicate to whomever. This is not going to happen this week. We're not going to get this done. We're going to reschedule it. So Wednesday is like a reset day. Okay. I hate it when I get to Friday and I feel that I didn't accomplish what I needed to. And so that's kind of like a safety net for me. It's so that I'm managing my expectations and others.
Project management, and you're tracking
expectations of me. My team, they laugh at me when we get to a certain point in the production process with the magazine, and I meet with them, production folks, social media, the editorial team, and they're like, okay, we're missing this story, and we're missing this column, and this story didn't turn out well or whatever, and I just look at them. It's like, it's chop time. It's time to chop. That's not going in this issue. We're going to put it in the next one. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. It's not what we need it to be. Where did we start with this story? What was our purpose, our goal, our mission with running it in the first place? So we're not meeting that mission. We're not hitting it. So it's not a good fit. Right. Oh, it's okay. Let's jettison that. Or let's repurpose it into something else. Let's combine these three pieces and make it a different kind of package. Yeah. Or this is not it's okay. It's not going to run in print. Let's make it digital. It's more suitable for digital. Yes. And so there's like a fish and cut bait.
Yes.
Part to what I do each week.
And so I hope people are taking copious notes. You just shared batching. That is a process that I was taking good copious notes, mental copious notes, and I'm going to replay this as well. You are known as That Media Queen. What is your perspective on how that is one brand, their new business? You talked a little bit about that earlier. You already hit on some of that, but now that person that says, okay, Dorothy, I'm batching, I stepped out, I partnered, what we're gonna do?
Well, I'm unboxing myself again. And that is a new brand that I am creating that's gonna be launching in a big way soon. A lot of people don't know this, but I have a number of people who come to me and say, I want to publish a book. I know you've published books. You've been in the publishing field 30 some years. Can you help me? Mm-hmm. I have other people who say, well, I have an anthology project and, I have an idea or concept, but I don't have the time to make it happen. There's a Braille publication that my team produces quarterly for someone else. There's another one for the hearing impaired, that a new publication that we actually are working with a client to produce. So I have projects like this that I'm working on throughout the year. A lot of people just don't realize that my media the extent of my media involvement goes beyond Gulf Coast Woman and the
Yes.
books that they see that I'm publishing. But the other thing is that something that has happened over the past, I don't know, 8 months or so is as more people have become interested in digital magazines and some even community magazines, I have folks who are asking me, will you do some consultation? Will you review my business plan? Will you help me frame my digital publication? Or, okay, I know what I want to have in my digital publication, but how in the world do you get rich content every time? I'm not, I don't understand. I know what I want to, I know what my voice is, and I know what I want to write, but how do I consistently get good content? Where do I find the resources? And how do I effectively do this on a schedule and not spend every penny I make paying writers and graphic designers and all of that stuff? And so finally, I just realized, it's kind of like I've sort of been like kind of doing that on the side, and now I want to more formalize that more and actually develop it into some teaching and some coaching modules. But also I've assembled a team of folks to work with me so that I'm not taking my eye off the main thing. Yes. But at the same time, I'm able to extend myself and help more people. And so, so that hashtag is just the beginning of something new that's going to be coming. I don't want to go into much detail. I want to wait until I can announce it with the logo and all the graphics and video and everything. But I'm very, very excited about it because too often I have had to say to people who wanted help with the book project, I would love to help you, but I can't focus on it right now. And I hate saying no to someone who really needs my expertise and my knowledge. I feel like that's a gift, and I need to share that gift.
Woo. Good information. So we look forward to hearing from that media queen and all that she's putting out real soon. Keep your eyes posted. So you continue to be a beacon of inspiration. What do you wish for your lasting global crowning legacy to be? What you want your legacy to be?
I have a vision, and this is the vision. When most of the women in my family, they live to be in their early 90s.
Wow.
And when I reach that age, I don't want to look back thinking about the things that I shoulda, coulda, woulda done. I don't want to do that. What I want to be able to see when my eyes are dim, I want to be able to see lights all around me. And those lights are symbolic of the lives that I touch. Those lights are symbolic of people who I spoke wisdom into and truth and knowledge, and it lit them up. And they went from there to be a greater version of themselves. I want to see lights all around me, and I want to sit back and smile, and I want to laugh, and I want to recall conversations with people where they come and say, Dorothy, I never thought I could do that. And I'm so excited about who I am now and where I am. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me in the grocery store. Thank you for taking the time on your busy production week to take an appointment with me when I know you didn't have time. And that's what I want to be able to see. I want to see those lights around me. And I laugh sometimes about myself. It's like, if you're the clerk at the Dollar General near my house, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna cheer you up. I'm gonna say something, hopefully that will cause you to laugh, that will put a smile on your face. And even with the Dollar General clerk, if they show up grumpy, I'm not leaving until I help to change the condition of you that day. And the other thing is that with the Success Women's Conference, I want to be able to extend beyond the neighborhood, the community, the region that I'm in. The media business allows you particularly now the media is so virtual, it allows you to touch the world. And with the Success Women's Conference, we have been touching the world. Last year, we were named one of the top 10 professional women's conferences in the nation. So we already are touching the world, the nation. And we're expanding. We're going to have an over-the-top virtual experience in September 8th through the 15th, 7 days. Because most of the content is going to be virtual, we're spreading it out so you can plug in at the times that make the most sense. But we also are going to have some special live opportunities all over the nation. And right now we're targeting about 30 cities where we're going to have some live experiences that will be part of the virtual conference. We have been studying the technology for months now, and we are teaming up with a couple of national companies to ensure that what we produce and what we present will be done in a way that will inspire, empower, connect, and recharge women, which is what our motto is. This year's theme is I Believe. I believe. And the conference is all about first seeing a vision, believing what you could be, and then actually learning during the conference the skills and overcoming the obstacles that have kept you shifting in your mind. But even beyond that, connecting to people who can help you figure out how to find the door, or if the door has been closed, how to go around the back. Kern Cherry says that if the front door is closed, go around the back. Connecting to other women who can help you find your way, who will mentor you and lift you up and pull you up. You know, as women, when we do that, nobody else does it better. When women come together to lift each other up. And so I am ecstatic about the conference this year. It's going to have a lot of pieces to it. A lot of speakers, a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers, motivators. So excited, so very excited. And there are going to be opportunities for the virtual parts, of course, where you can attend free. You don't have to worry about, okay, how much is it going to cost me? But anyway, there will be some information coming in this upcoming issue of Gulf Coast Woman magazine. So make sure you get a copy of that. We'll have information about the content for the conference and the speakers and that type of thing. Also, would love to see everyone nominate a top influencer. And that's not just locally on the coast. That is around the world. Nominate top influencers. So we're going to have our local Top Influencers Awards, and we also are going to have a national award. Amazing. So the first question a lot of people ask is well, can I throw my name in the hat for both? Yes, you can. You can nominate somebody for both the national and the local, or you can nominate yourself. There's nothing wrong with nominating yourself. Quit sitting and waiting for somebody else to put something on your plate. Right. Okay.
Thank you. So you did say some of the dates. Are you allowed, or that's coming up? Ticket information, venue, all of that. Share as much as you can about the conference, your handles, how to reach, all of that.
So the website is successconference.info. And we will, July 1, we will be pushing out a lot of detailed information. And also, if you follow us on Facebook, and make sure you become part of Success Nation, which is also a Facebook group that we have. We push out information first there.
Okay. Any other things that you're doing, other podcasts that are coming up, and other events?
Yes. We're working on a Gulf Coast Woman TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I don't want to go too deep.
Okay.
We got some partners. We're with our next issue, the July-August issue is our success showcase. And I told somebody yesterday they were at the office getting their beautiful portraits taken. We have 4 photographers working to get these photos taken.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I walked in there and I said, you know, normally when the magazine comes out, I don't want to look at it too much because I'll see things that we missed or we should have thought about. And so I kind of like, it's like once it goes to the printer, it's like, okay, I'm done now. All right. I don't want to look at it in its totality anymore. Well, I told him, I said, this time I'm going to sit down and I'm going to take a long time and I'm going to sip the magazine. I'm going to go through every page because we have the 100 successful women to know that were nominated by the community. And then in addition to that, we have a lot of women who are in the showcase itself, where they're sharing what they're passionate about. They're talking about their success. It's going to be one of those issues that you're going to pick up over and over again. And what I hope will happen is women all across the coast will see it as a girl party, in that they can connect to women. They can introduce themselves via the magazine, or meet women via the magazine that they don't know. And hopefully they will reach out to them. You know, most of the showcase presentations have website addresses and that kind of thing. So, hey, go online, look that woman up and connect with her and say, hey, I love your story. You know, what you're doing is beautiful. Or, hey, you're doing something I would like to do. Would you go to lunch with me and mentor me and give me some advice? And so I'm so excited about all of the possibilities that are wrapped up into this issue.
Yes, yes. Amazing. Our time has been well spent, and you have given us great nuggets and tools to apply immediately, and some things that we can do strategically. Can't get the word out. But I really want to thank you for stopping by the All and continuously impacting our community and pouring out your love on so many people. You have truly shown Miss Essie's legacy, and you're creating an additional legacy of your own as you have impacted so many, myself included. So I just want to
thank you so very much. And again, I'm so very proud of what you're doing with this broadcast. Of course, you're empowering the community and women with it. And so I'm very excited about it. And I appreciate the opportunity to share. I mean, there's so many women, so many people you could have chosen. And so I don't take that lightly. I really don't. And that's, you know, that's again, that's one of the things that my mom taught me is, you know, nothing's, you know, promised to you. Don't wake up every day with your hand open, waiting for somebody to give you something. And be truly feel blessed and appreciative when you have an opportunity. And so I really am very grateful. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am grateful for the opportunity.
thank you. Well, everybody, you have heard from Miss Dorothy Patrick Wilson. She stopped by and she has blessed us immensely. And we just want to say good night. Love you from the All, and you have a great evening. Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you. Blessings.